Hi, I'm glad to see you again. We're still talking about our immigrant ancestors. And today's people are the people from Persia. Now, the nation's name has changed, Now they're called Iranians. And some of you are going to have trouble with that because Americans aren't popular in Iran. You probably know the political reasons, and I can understand them. But the food that the Persian immigrant brought to this country is simply heavenly, and so are the people. They're very, very nice. Now, let's talk about Persia then. Where did they come from? Well, it's a very ancient nation. A group called Iranians came in, or almost like Aryans. You see, Aryans came into the area called Persia or Iran. 100,000, excuse me, not 100,000, let's try 1,000 BC. Long time ago, moved in, and then later on another tribe came in called Persians. So these two tribes, the Aryans and the Persians, make up the group that we now call the Iranians. Fabulous people, and they are surrounded by the most interesting nations. If you study your geography, you look at your map, you can see that the nation of Iran or Persia is surrounded by Iraq, and they're not getting along with Iraq, the southern portion of the Soviet Union, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. You see that? So it's a fabulous place. Now, one of the most interesting things about these people is that they were one of the first peoples in the ancient world to move down from the highlands and begin to live in the lowlands where they could develop serious agriculture, domesticate animals, and form villages. I think only the Chinese were ahead of them on this. So it's a very profound and ancient culture. Cyrus the Great, who's mentioned in Deutero-Isaiah, the second half of the book of Isaiah, invaded. And he was of this country, and he began invading areas in the Middle East. And Isaiah said that he's appointed by God. He wasn't even a Jew, you see? He's appointed by God because Cyrus the Great was putting down all of the enemies of the people of Israel. So the history that comes out of this culture is just amazing. In the 7th century AD, the Islamic world invaded Iran, and they were all converted to Islam. And in the 13th century, Genghis Khan came in from China. And he brought with him a whole different mindset about arts, and eventually the Persian artists began to develop things that well, it was the golden age of art in Persia. Tiny Persian paintings, Persian miniatures. Have you seen those? I wish I had one to show you. I have one at home. I should have brought it. And incredible architecture, beautiful things. And the rugs, the art that came from this culture is just beautiful. In 1935, Persia became Iran, went back to a name of one of the earlier tribes. And in 1953, now the politics gets to be testy here. 1953, Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi was appointed emperor. And we were behind that. Americans supported him, and primarily oil, I think. And he had an incredible secret police force. He knew everything about everything you did. Everyone, everything. I think it was very frightening. During that time, a lot of immigrants came to America. One of the tribes one of the groups of people that he had the most difficulty with was a group called the Shiite Muslims, you see. And their leader was a fellow by the name of Ayatollah Khomeini. And he was exiled. And in 1979, do you remember, the Shah's regime fell and Khomeini returned. Now, he was no nice guy. So more immigrants came to the U.S. And they expected a better life here, and I think they've certainly got it. If you want to meet American immigrants from Persia or Iran, you must go to one of my favorite hangouts, which is a spot in Chicago, and it's called Reza's Persian Food. Now, notice he doesn't use the word Iranian. You can understand why politically. But, it's a wonderful place. The chef's name, here he's making kebab, pounding them, you see. I'll show you how to do that. The chef's name is Joseph Tulabi. Isn't he a gorgeous man? And he does most of his work on grills. And, of course, this kind of cooking goes back to the ancient world. He's using a lot of ghee or clarified butter on his cooking. They use almost no garlic. Now watch this. The dish is done. He butters it again. Back on the grill for a moment. Is this not dramatic? And then puts it in line and out it goes. This is a chicken kebab, I think, that the young fellows are dishing up. Place is packed all the time. No garlic. And the food is just terrific. Our table, this is Ali, our waiter. Our table consists of the following. A dish I'll show you. An eggplant dish. and relishes and cheese for the first time around. Now this, oh, Kathy, you're so gorgeous. This is my dear friend Kathy Casey. She's a very famous chef from the Pacific Northwest and just a character. She opened Fuller's at the Sheraton. Wonderful person. I'm very fond of her. Now Ollie's bringing us grilled quail as an appetizer. See, everything's put on the grill. And then eventually, oh, this is a soup. I have not yet, I'll be honest, I have not yet figured out the recipe. I asked Joseph about it, and he was helpful, but we have to work on it. We have to work on it. Ollie is now bringing us, look at these trays. This place looks like a converted Mexican restaurant. I think that's what it is, but the food is certainly not. Grape leaves, kebab, lamb shank, you see that at the top of the picture, and wonderful rice dishes. Look at these eggplant. Oh, they're delicious things. The food is just superb. Keep eating, you guys. We've got a lot of cooking to do. And there's a Cornish game hen in here somewhere. There it is. He cooks this with a sweet and sour pomegranate sauce and crushed walnuts. Can you believe that? Now we're trying the kebab. That's wonderful stuff. Craig, my chef, is having a good time. And of course, our friend from Seattle, Kathy Casey, is enjoying herself too. As well as Jim, my business manager. I need all of these people to help. I can't make soup by myself, let's be honest. And look at the pastries this place has. Now in the back, you see all the wine and the liquor, obviously. That's not part of the Muslim tradition. But the restaurant is, and it's just a wonderful place. Riza's in the middle of Chicago. There are not many Iranian communities in this country. You can find them in Los Angeles, you can find them in Chicago, you can find them in New York. Those are the places to go if you want good Persian food. Otherwise, stick with me. I have some things you won't believe. Today, we're going to start with a chelo kebab, which is rice with meat on top. And here's the recipe. You want to make a sauce first of 1 cup of yellow onion. I'm going to put it in my blender, you see. There we go, 1 cup of yellow onion. I want 3/4 of a cup of lemon juice, fresh squeezed lemon juice. There we are. No, do not buy that stuff in a bottle that says reconstituted. What does reconstituted mean? It means something foul, something sinister, something Gnostic, something unknown. Use fresh things. That's what they would do. And then we want to add some saffron. Now, I'm going to lose you here. Saffron's expensive. We want a good stiff pinch of saffron, or you can go to a shop and buy, not a Middle Eastern shop, but a Mexican shop, and you can buy an artificial saffron coloring. And that'll work, but this is better. So I put in a good pinch. That's about $2 worth. Isn't that awful? But this is heavenly food. And finally, some black pepper. And we'll grind this up and make a paste for our black pepper to taste. All right? There we go. No salt in this yet. Why not? Well, because salt, we're going to marinate the meat in this, and salt will dry out. The word, kids, is desiccate. Salt will dry out the meat, and you don't want to do that. Make a paste. Now, this is not complicated. It's done, you see? And now to that, we want to add the meat, or put the meat in this. What we've done is to cut lamb from a shoulder roast, you see? It's about a 1/4 inch thick, and we want to pound it out. Now, you remember, he pounded his out. He did his with the back of a knife on the shish, on the stick, you see. You can do that, too. But I'm nervous. If your kids are helping you, I would rather have them use something like this, which is a metal meat pounder. And you can just beat the blazes out of the thing. Is that quick? You're right, it is. All right. So you have about, a couple pounds of meat in here, and put the marinade on top, and let this marinate. Let's toss it. Look at the yellow that came from that saffron. Isn't that beautiful? The color changes lickety-split. I don't need that again. So marinate this for a while, and then put it on shish kebab rods. I'll show you mine. I bought mine in a Lebanese shop in Los Angeles, I think. And they're just plain old metal rods that have been cut into a easy-to-use shape, you see? Very simple. And you want to put the meat on this by pushing it right through the middle here. You can almost put it on as you would a shoelace, that is to say, over and under to hold it on, you see? Let it sit, though, for a long time. I've told you now. You want to set this in the refrigerator for about 12 hours. And don't worry about it being floppy. It's all right if it's floppy, because when it's grilled, it'll sit up straight. All right? Now then, when you're ready to cook, Oh, this is good. This is so good. When you're ready to cook, you brush the meat with ghee. Now, ghee is clarified butter, and it's very simple to make. All you do, all you do is bring butter to a melting temperature and then cook it just a bit so that the milk solids settle out. You see how clear this is? Now, melted butter is always kind of, has some milk solids in it, and that's what causes the melted butter to sour. So make ghee, and you won't have that problem. Now, I have in the oven, this is better than a barbecue in the backyard. Let's be honest. I much prefer that, but Craig and I decided that it was just too much work to bring the barbecue in today, so we did it in a broiler here in the oven. Ouch. And this works well. It lacks the smoky flavor that I want it to have, but then, you know, you can't have everything every time. Aren't these gorgeous? Just broil them a few minutes on the side, and you'll be all set. And brush them with a little ghee and a little salt. Swing a little salt and then broil them. Now, to serve them, this is really fun. The Persians love rice, but the rice that they use is not what you and I call rice. It's basmati rice from India. Let me show you the difference. Aside from the fact that basmati rice comes in a wonderful canvas bag with an elephant on it, that's enough for my wife. You know, she'll buy it for that very reason. She's an elephant freak. Let me show you what it looks like. You won't notice much difference in the color or anything else, but this is basmati rice from India. This is Japanese short grain rice. And this is what you and I call long grain, you see? But this basmati rice has a most wonderful nutty flavor. Bosco, my friend, I've told you about him many times. Bosco came in this morning and he said, is someone cooking hazelnuts? I couldn't figure out what he was talking about. Then it hit me. I said, no, Bosco, we're making basmati rice. It has a nutty, wonderful flavor. Now, the meat is removed from the rods right onto the top of the rice, basmati rice. We'll just put a couple on here. I want you to see the dish because it's very colorful. Oh, all right, 3. The way these guys eat around here, I have to be careful. There we are. Now, the decoration that goes along with this is really not a decoration at all. It's a matter of the enjoyment of the meal. You want some tomatoes. These have also been broiled. You see? See the little slit I made in the top? That keeps them from exploding in the oven. And just broil them the same way. And then it is served with, let's see, where's everything? I'm missing the eggs. Here they are. This is a kick. When each person dishes up their food, they take an egg yolk and they pour that over the rice in their plate along with the meat. And then the final thing is just delicious. And it sounds very strange to you. It is a ground up sumac from the sumac plant. It looks odd. It looks like it looks like red bark, but it's from the flower of the sumac plant. And this is important to rice in the Persian tradition. So you just put some on the rice. Sumac in Lebanese is pronounced samet. And when my boys were growing up, I used to make fried eggs for them with olive oil and sumac. And the boys always called it eggs in cement. Daddy, can we have eggs in cement? We had fun. This dish is just colossal. And it is a classic, probably the most famous dish in Persia. There. You can see the colors of the Persian flag are green and red and white. And the plate with a little parsley would be just precisely that. You see? Isn't this neat food? It's romantic food. Let me show you another one. There's a, I see what I've done. I did need that. Yes. There's a seasoning that is so delicious. And it's for me, it's sheer romance. It's called advia. Let me drain my blender here for a minute. Craig, you want to come and dry this out for me? I'd sure appreciate it, friend. Advia is made of all kinds of fascinating seasonings. I need my pepper grinder? No. My electric one? Kit, will you get me my electric pepper grinder? Thank you, friend. The electric coffee grinder, the little one. Now, look at this. This is a bowl of seasonings that we're going to use to make advia. It's a most interesting thing. Thank you. That's what I need, Greg. Good. We're going to put about 2 tablespoons of yes, we're talking Persian. Rose petals right into the blender here. Be sure it's dry. About 2 tablespoons. You can buy these at any Middle Eastern shop or well, let's see. Well, sometimes you can buy them at herbaries, but be sure you ask him now whether or not the flowers that you're buying, the petals that you're buying are indeed edible. Because sometimes they're simply used for making, what do they call them, potpourris, or those smelly bags that they put in drawers, you know, that sort of thing. And you don't want that because they put artificial stuff in there. And that isn't what you want. All right. Now we want 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Oh, where's the spoon here? I suppose I should kind of make an effort at measuring. That's 1, 2. Isn't this romantic? Roses, cinnamon. Now we want a half teaspoon of cardamom seeds. Let's grind these. I'm going to use my little electric coffee grinder. Come here, you. There we are. About a half teaspoon of cardamom seeds. And I want some black pepper. About a half teaspoon of black pepper. That should do us. And then we need some cumin, coriander. Here's some cumin. We need a teaspoon of cumin. And about a half teaspoon of coriander. These are all whole, you see. I think grinding things at the last minute are much better than anything else. Put these away. This is an Indian herb box. I just think it's a gorgeous thing. Isn't it fun? And you seal things up. The idea is, of course, that you replenish these regularly so they're not going to lose their flavor when you keep them sealed up like this. All right. Now we have everything in the box here. Whoops, except the turmeric. The turmeric goes in here. We need some turmeric too. Let me give you that recipe again. 2 tablespoons. Boy, I'm going to blow this one on you, but careful. Listen now. 2 tablespoons of rose petals, 2 tablespoons of cinnamon, a half teaspoon of cardamom, whole preferably, a half teaspoon of black pepper, which I'm going to grind separately, a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric. That gives it that wonderful yellow color. And now we're going to add some nutmeg, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg. And I've freshly ground mine, and I left a pod in here to prove it, you see. That's a nutmeg. And I've ground this myself. About a 4th teaspoon of nutmeg, whole teaspoon of nutmeg, there it is. 1 teaspoon of cumin, and a half teaspoon of coriander. Now, we'll grind those up. And the resulting flavoring will be called advia. Advia. It's just heaven. And you use it in a stew, perhaps. Craig and I made a dish that we tasted. Come and talk to me. Where did we taste that dish? It was in San Francisco. What was the name of that place? The Lamb's Tongue.
Oh,
what was the name of that place?
I can't remember, but that was one of the best dishes I've ever had.
Oh.
Fantastic.
Well,
and that was the main seasoning in that dish.
Yes. Delicious. What was the name of the place?
I can't recall.
It's in Little Italy in San Francisco. Persia, Rajum, I can't do it. Well,
Raj is the one in Chicago.
Oh, all right. Well, anyhow, it's great stuff. Here it is. And you now have, look at this, you now have advia. And you would have grind this a little bit longer. The petals should really break down, but they will if you do that. You grind it a little bit longer. And you sprinkle this into a stew, a lamb stew, or, as I said, we tasted it in lamb tongue. It's so romantic, but it's Persian. It's Persian. All right, finally, let's see what else we have here. How about a very quick salad that is so easy to make? Now, remember, these people do not use garlic. No, don't change channels. You're still watching the Frugal Gourmet. You didn't think that I knew of anybody who didn't use garlic, but they do not. One of the strangest things, this is a culture that simply doesn't care for garlic. And I'm shocked too. But boy, do they make salads without garlic. For instance, some tomatoes, and we'll put in some white or some red onion. Just, regular salad, but there's no lettuce in this. This is what Joseph at Reese's calls a Persian salad. And the dressing is so simple, it's embarrassing. Oh, we need some parsley too. I'm going to put in a good handful of parsley. They love parsley. And then we're going to make a dressing. And the dressing is, talk about simple, good olive oil. Mine is Greek. I love that. Get good virgin olive oil, extra virgin. And buy it, use it just for cooking, just for eating your salad, you see. And then buy regular virgin olive oil for pan frying and so forth, you see. And for deep frying, use something simply called olive oil. That's the 4th pressing of the oil. It'll be all right. We're going to use lime juice and olive oil and salt and pepper, black pepper. That's all there is to it. Mix this up. You've got a dressing that is really very delicious. I was surprised when I said, no garlic in the salad? What is this, a plot? some kind of a tragic plot. But it's not tragic at all. Okay. This will make a lovely salad. And it's interesting to eat a whole meal without any garlic at all. I'll only do it at Reese's. But I'm learning now that this is very interesting food and very delicious. All right, put a salad out along with our kebab. And now we need to go on to let's see, where's my order? I've got a whole bunch of things to show you. Here they are. They love rice, and they're brilliant at cooking rice. Just brilliant. For instance, you saw the rice on the platter, and I put the interesting herb on it, the sumac. But look at this one. This is called a keta. Now, don't come here. I'm going to have to hit it in the edge of the counter. Don't leave me. There it is. Had to loosen it a bit so I could turn it over. You cook it in a frying pan with a lid on it. Let me show you now. Here we go. I'm going to invert this. Cook it with a frying pan with a lid on it, and then put some ghee on top of it, and then cook it until it's absolutely brown. And it's this crunchiness. And this is just as crunchy as can be. You can tap on it. It's this crunchiness that makes it so delicious. And for the Iranian, this crunchy part of the rice is the best part of all. And let's put some currants on it, some orange peel and some currants. Isn't this gorgeous? Now you see the romance of this food. The orange peel and the currants and perhaps a walnut or two there. And you kind of break this up into chunks and just chew on it. This is better than candy for kids. There it is. That's a wonderful, wonderful dish. Crunchy, crunchy rice. And I have an eggplant that is cooked in a most interesting way. They make cocos, which are omelets cooked like a frittata. You know, an omelet, you cook the omelet in a pan first, and then you stick it under a broiler. And this one is made with chopped up eggplant, and it is so delicious. Let me see here's one. This is so delicious. See if I can get it out of the pan now. Come on, you. Come on, then come on out of here. There we are. Oops, there you got it. It's an eggplant frittata affair. That has been out of the oven for a while, so it stuck to the pan. Normally it'll just fall right out. If you use Silverstone in your frying pans, there you are. A cocoa. You can make those with eggplants, with tomatoes, with all sorts of things, or just plain herbs. I think that's one of my favorites. And here's a salad that he makes. Barani is made of spinach. Let's put that on white so you can see it, huh? Move things around here a bit. There we are. This is wonderful. Spinach with yogurt, and I make my own yogurt. And the yogurt that you leave out for a while will become very sour and absolutely wonderful. Delicious stuff. Okay, do we have everything on the table? I think so. Can you think of anything else, Craig? Have we got it? Oh, here's one more. You know, Craig is always sitting here in the corner of my kitchen when you and I talk together, and if I didn't have him, I'd probably be totally crazy by this time. I mean it. I would go over the edge. He's a great support. You should have one like this too, a cook, that can help you. Let's put some nuts on this. This is eggplant layered. You see? Look at this. The eggplant's been cooked and then it's layered with sour yogurt. And what is sour yogurt? Well, sour yogurt, let me get some nuts on this and I'll put it out and show you what sour yogurt is. You can't buy sour yogurt in the market. It's always too fresh. I don't care for it. But if you make your own, you can leave it. See, I have one. Here's a batch I've labeled batch number 2, and this one is sour. I've left it out overnight on a heating pad so that it really gets to be sour. And then leave it sit out the next day before you refrigerate it, and it's so sour that you can't believe it. And that's what the Iranians like. Okay, so we've made a wonderful salad. Point here, no garlic. Chelo kebab, rice with sumac on the top. A salad of cold spinach with the yogurt. Crunchy, crunchy rice. A wonderful cocoa made with eggplant and eggs. And an eggplant salad. All terribly, terribly Persian. There. Now, in the course of this series, we've been talking about 35 different ethnic immigrant groups. They have changed the course of America for us. Well, they've made the course of America. Let's face it, we were all immigrants unless you're an American native. Now, what have we gained in this? Well, we have received immigrants from all over the world. They came to Ellis Island 100 years ago they began. And then they brought with them their food, their culture, and their hopes. Now, what were they hoping for? They were hoping for the peaceable kingdom. This is a painting by Edward Hicks. He did, American artist, wonderful man. 1830 he did this. And look, everybody is getting along in the painting If you look close at the children sitting with the animals, nobody's biting anyone. Everyone is getting along. A wonderful painting. And then in the background, you see William Penn and the Indians. And they're all getting along. That was the hope of the peaceable kingdom. Incidentally, if you want to see that painting, the Colonial Williamsburg people, the Colonial Williamsburg Foundation in Colonial Williamsburg, Virginia, has it in their collection. And if you haven't seen that place, you must go, because the early American immigrants, you see, wound up in places like that in Virginia. And then, of course, in more recent times, we've had people from Persia. Wonderful. Let's hope that the American culture can continue to be, or at least succeed at, being the peaceable kingdom. So I see you again. This is the Frugal Gourmet. I bid you peace. Bye-bye.